Okay, Chelsea nil, Crystal Palace nil. The game has literally just ended, and it was a poor game. Everyone was so excited for the football to be back, myself included, and excited to see Chelsea play, coming off our Club World Cup win. Uh, but it was just a very poor game, all in all. Our players looked rusty. We struggled against Palace's low block. Uh, and we had a lot of corners, and we really didn't test them at all on corners. Especially towards the end of the game, we were going near post, and they were just being cleared every time. We didn't switch it up. We looked very one-dimensional, which is not something we've really been said of Chelsea in recent times, especially under Maresca. We were just banging our heads against the wall and hoping something would happen, and it didn't happen. So I thought the first half would be cagey. I was sort of predicting like a 2-1 Chelsea win. I thought Palace would probably be winning going into half time, but once we bring the players off the bench and we've got that depth in Estevao and Santos and Delap coming off the bench, I thought we'd go on and win the game, which was like, in fairness, quite close to what actually happened. Right, we had some really big chances at the end of the game that if maybe a couple months into the season when everyone's fresh and everything's rolling, right? All the cogs are turning. We probably go and we win that game. The chances were there. There was a big chance for Estevao, and he sort of took a couple too many touches and then skied it over. Andre Santos, the ball came into him. I thought he had a chance to just take a touch and then slot it home, but he decided to shoot on his weak foot and it went, flying over. So look, it was a poor game, yes. We didn't lose. Palace were a good team. Let's not disrespect Palace. I think people who were just thinking we were going to go in there and just dominate and beat them 3-0, you were living in La La Land. It was a tough game. We we played them at the beginning of the season. If we played them when they're playing Thursday, Sunday, they don't have the biggest squad, right? So that we probably would have done a lot more, and we might see that in the reverse fixture. But we're playing the first game of the season. They're fresh. They're coming off winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield, and we just looked rusty and out of it. But I wouldn't dig too deep into it. It's the first game. We didn't lose. Chances were there. Look, it's not like we created absolutely nothing and we lost 1 or 2-0. So I think, as a Chelsea fan and to the Chelsea fans watching, let's not get too down. Look, we can roll back. We're playing West Ham on Friday. And it was a hard game. We knew it was going to be a hard game. And Maresca, I'm sure, is going to learn from it. So if we just go through the lineup now, just who sort of played well and who played poor. Uh, Sanchez made a few big saves. I don't know what he was doing for the free kick. Luckily, that was disallowed, but his positioning on that free kick was really poor. He was just sort of stood in the middle of the goal. I don't really know what he was doing there. But all in all, he didn't play too bad. Uh, Reece James played okay. Wasn't his best game. Eze was bullying him at times, and we can't say that's happened to Reece James much, if ever, really. Eze was getting the better of him. Reece James got booked. Eze did nutmeg him, and another day, if the ref was a bit harsher, that could be a second yellow. For me, it wasn't a second yellow, but I've seen those given. So we got a bit lucky. The ref did give us a few decisions that did go our way, right? But it wasn't a terrible game by Reece. And Eze's a man in form. It's not an easy player to mark and keep quiet as well. I thought Champion, I thought he had actually a good game. He gave the ball away at the beginning, right? And we almost conceded from that. So he looked a bit off the pace at the beginning, but I thought he grew into the game. I'd say he played better than Chalobah. The only problem is, again, the centre backs we've got. One, Colwell's injured and Fofana's injured. These are our two aggressive centre backs. And as it stands, these players are too passive. Chalobah, Tosin, Champion, they're all passive centre backs, which is okay if they're partnered with an aggressive one. But you can see Mateta was just going, using his physicality, pressing up against them, and he was able to just play off our centre backs, right? We didn't have anyone coming up across the line, sweeping forward and tackling, right? Everyone was just, standing off, come back, and just playing too passive. That's the only sort of dilemma we've got with our centre backs at the moment. We need, with Colwell being out, we need Fofana to play, and if Fofana can't play, we need an aggressive centre back, because games like this we're gonna drop points because no one's pressing up, no one's tackling their man, they're just stepping back, right? And against a physical striker, if we're playing Forest and Wood would do something similar, they're just going to play back to goal, they're going to play off them, and Mateta almost got a goal as well. Chalobah, it wasn't a bad game. It was nothing special. Considering I thought he was injured in the last game, he was probably playing with maybe a slight knock. He wasn't 100% fit. So if you take that into consideration, it wasn't a bad game. Cucurella, obviously he was bombing forward. Had a few chances in the first half from corners. Didn't do anything special though. Nothing crazy. Just a 6 out of 10 game. Nothing too special to really say. Enzo, I thought it was a really poor game by Enzo. I'm a big Enzo fan, but I don't know what he was doing this game. Don't want to make excuses for him, because a player of his standard and quality should, against Palace, he should be running that game. But it was the opposite. I thought Wharton bossed the midfield. Wharton, I think, if he's not starting in the World Cup for England, Tuchel, I don't know what he's doing, because Wharton, for me, he's better than Rice, and not many people have bullied our midfield, and our midfield kind of got bossed a little, Enzo, really poor game. If he's going to be playing like that, Xavi Simons can easily play that role, and even Andre Santos. I'll get to him in a bit. His cameo wasn't great, but a player like Enzo shouldn't be dropping a performance like that. Not first game of the season at home. He's the guy I'd hope to be dictating play and creating chances. And like we saw in this game, we did not create near enough chances. I thought it was an okay game by Caicedo, sort of like a 7 out of 10. Caicedo, in his current form, he's not really dropping a bad game, right? So he's always going to sort of bring a 7 out of 10 game. No sort of clear-cut chances he created. He had one shot. Like, we know what he does. He covers the pitch and he wins the ball. But apart from that, we really didn't create enough from midfield. But Neto had a decent game. I think what we need to do in the future, I was saying Estevao will probably start by come November. I want Estevao starting next game, to be quite frank. Gittin's really poor. You could see he got hooked he could have been hooked at half time. 54 minutes. They gave him, Maresca gave him 10 minutes after the half and took him off. And we saw when Estevao came in, not that Estevao had an amazing game, right, and he was jaw-dropping, but he certainly did a lot more in the minutes he had. And I'd rather Estevao, if he's playing bad, gets hooked off at 60th minute rather than come on and play good or okay for 30 minutes. I think... So for me, against West Ham, I predicted the lineup correct. I thought Champong would start with Chalobah. So if you watched my video yesterday, I predicted the lineup spot on. So for me, Neto, left wing, and he's going to play just as a pure winger. I want him just running down and crossing on his left foot. No cutting in, because we've got Cucurella to invert, so we can create a sort of overlap. So no cutting in for Neto, playing as a pure winger, getting to the byline. And I want Estevao playing that right wing spot, playing as like an inside forward. Because we saw Estevao and Palmer, they do have some nice link-up play. We saw that in pre-season. Not really this game. I thought Palmer was really poor. I'd probably say he was one of the worst Chelsea players today. There was that one free kick and he hit the wall. On another day, maybe he bends that in top corner. We know Palmer can do that. And he seemed like he was just trying to create him too much. He was trying to like clip farm almost. Like when he had the ball, instead of doing the simple things, he was trying to do, the jaw dropping, play sort of passes. And I thought, just keep it simple. He's taking shots where he shouldn't be. It was just a really poor game all in all. And especially with Palace having that low block, when we have an opportunity and a chance, that pass has to be, on a dime. It has to be perfect. Otherwise, they're just going to clear it, and then we're back to square one. which is what we saw, right? So for me, Palmer, really poor game. It was like a 5 out of 10 performance. Not at it at all. João Pedro, I thought it wasn't so much that he played bad, but he wasn't getting any chances. He wasn't really being fed anything at all. And the sort of lineup with Palace, right? It's the kind of game he's going to struggle. If a striker's getting no service and he had to drop back to sort of link up with play, sort of like, you know, Harry Kane does. If he's having a slow game, he'll come drop into midfield. Look, he was up against, you know, a very compact and low line of engagement from Crystal Palace, right? So it was always going to be a tough game for João Pedro. Don't think he played really bad. He wasn't giving the ball away loads, but look, it wasn't a great game. Estevao, you know, came on 54th minute. Very lively, a sort of instant impact in the first 10 minutes, running at players. Did do that yellow card, which was it was rash. You know, I wouldn't say it's a red card, but it's certainly it's bordering. It's a poor challenge, right? But nowhere near the ball, sort of scissoring in. But no, he was running at them, his dribbling. At least what we saw with Estevao when he came on, at least he was trying to make something happen, right? And if he does that for 60, 65 minutes, and we need to change it up, then I think, right, let's get Neto back on the right, let's sub on Gittins, and let's change it up that way. But as we saw with Gittins on the left, Neto on the right, Estevao, when he comes on, he's only got so many minutes to make an impact, and a player of, you know, his potential, I think he can do a lot more. So for me against West Ham, Estevao starts, and Gittins is on the bench. I don't think Gittins, he looked way too raw, way off the pace. Nothing like we saw in pre-season with the you know, quick dynamic dribbling. He just looked very raw. But look, it's the first game of the season. Let's not, you know, draw too many comparisons or make any rash decisions. It's the first game of the season against a very good Crystal Palace team. That's what it was at the end of the day. Look, we didn't lose against Brentford or Sunderland or someone like that at home. It was a draw. It was 0-0. Let's not get too carried away, right? I thought Delap, when he came on, he had that one chance. He probably could have done better, but his link-up play was, you know, was really good. He had a nice touch that laid it in to Cucurella, who then crossed it in, and that's where Andre Santos skied it, right? So for me, Delap, in the 30 minutes he did more than João Pedro, it's got to be said. And that's the sort of danger we've got now off the bench. He's a totally different profile to João Pedro, so when we need to switch it up, we've got another striker coming off the bench, completely different, right? Physical, decent link-up play, can shoot off both feet as well. Just a more dynamic physical profile to João Pedro, who's obviously a lot more technical. Link-up play is better. And that's why, you know, we're in favour of selling Jackson, because, you know, who would you rather come off the bench, Jackson or Delap? And the last time Jackson came off the bench, he got a red card within the first 30 seconds, you know. So for me, look, Delap's a clear upgrade on Jackson. He's a good player to come off the bench, and if he starts, I'm sure he can play well as well. Malo Gusto, I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing in training. Is he like Roberto Carlos in training, and he's banging shots from 80 feet out and he's scoring them? I don't know why he's shooting. I don't think I've seen him score like a Galazzo like that. So why is he, you know, 30 yards out and he just thinks, right, I'm going to have a shot here when we have a chance to progress play, maybe get an overlap, get a cross in, and create a more dangerous opportunity that way. Don't know why he thinks he can just shoot from there, especially when he came on. Look, we're chasing the game. We need to get a goal. You can't be shooting from there. Like, you're not Roberto Carlos. You're not Ronaldo. What are you doing? Stop shooting from there. You're Malo Gusto, okay? So, look, hopefully Maresca tells him, you know, what are you doing? Stop shooting. Play as a team. Then Andre Santos, like, he had 15 minutes cameo off the bench, so it wasn't great. He had a few opportunities that if they fell to other players, potentially score. But obviously the big one was his left foot, and he completely skied it. I think that's a bit of the pressure of it's his debut. You know, he's still young. It's sort of that pressure probably got to him in the moment. You know, I've got the chance to score here. He could have taken a touch, set himself up for his right foot to then take a better shot. But the first time shot on his left, he doesn't have the best left foot anyway, right? So it wasn't the greatest shot. And that's a chance. It was a big chance, you know. He could have even taken a touch, played it onto Estevao, and Estevao taken a shot. But we had opportunities to win that game. So if we're going to draw, if we're going to come to any sort of conclusion, right? Poor game, poor quality. The players we needed to step up, like Enzo, Palmer, João Pedro, Estevao, they didn't do it. But in another game, I'm sure that they can do it. So poor game. Palace are a good team. They're not chumps. And we move on to Friday, right? So Friday, West Ham. Now West Ham obviously coming off a 3-0 loss to Sunderland. Potter under a bit of pressure. I do like their one signing, Diouf. I rate him. I think he's got a good cross on him. But this is a squad we should be winning. Look, they're not comparable to Crystal Palace. For me, much weaker. And among the West Ham supporters as well, they're quite pessimistic about this season. So, for me, this is the game we need to be winning, and we need to be getting a couple goals as well. So, all in all, I'll make a few videos leading up to that anyway, because I'm sure Maresca's going to come out into the media and in the conferences, and he's going to give his sort of breakdown of the game, and are we going to get the Xavi Simons deal completed? Is Nkunku off to Bayern? Where's Jackson going? Are we getting Garnacho? So we still got all of these sagas to develop. And Xavi Simons in this game would have been great, I think. If we had so much of the ball, if we subbed off Enzo and we played Xavi Simons here, and Xavi Simons essentially creates this double 10, and we just have Caicedo and Cucurella inverted, and we got those two as our sort of midfielders. And if we had Palmer and Xavi Simons in those 10 positions, getting on the ball a lot, these are our playmakers, right? These are where things are going to happen. Because again, Enzo for me was the worst player on the pitch, and I'm a big Enzo supporter, but he can't be performing like that. Way off it. So we move on to Friday. We got 1 point. We got a clean sheet, but our attacking players just weren't at it. But on another game, we could win that 1-0, 2-0. If we take those chances, if we're a bit more linked up in our team play, we can win that game. So let's take some positives from it and move. It wasn't terrible. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It wasn't terrible. On another day, a couple months from now, we win that game. Okay, the last 10-15 minutes we were all over them. So we just need to get that bit of composure in the final third. Palmer needs to get back into form. The positives we can take from it: clean sheet. I thought Champion grew into the game. He's only going to get better as he plays more as well. But for me, we need an aggressive centre-back partner in him. Caicedo played okay. Estevao was bright. For me, deserves to start against West Ham. That's it. You can't really take too many more positives from the game, to be honest. And there wasn't really anyone else who could come off the bench for us. Tyreek George wasn't going to do much. Asugo wasn't going to do anything, and Joel Hatto maybe get like 5 minutes, but again, not needed. So West Ham Friday. This is a game we have to definitely win. We can't be dropping points here, especially if we want to make some sort of title charge. Don't think we'll win the title, but we should be there or thereabouts at least until about Feb, March, and then maybe we fall off. So look, heads down. Let's get the boys training and match sharp, and let's win the game against West Ham. So look, we've got a good fixture run in after this as well. So if we just go to fixtures, so say we go to West Ham and we beat them, we've then got Fulham. Fulham again, they haven't reinforced very well this season. It's a game we should be winning. Brentford, I think will get relegated. So for me, a game we should be winning. And now we've got the game United versus Arsenal, so we'll see how United play. And this is a month from now, so things will change. But these next couple fixtures, they're very winnable games. The Palace game was the hardest game. So heads down. Let's focus, and we go again Friday. So I'll make a couple more videos in the next couple of days, just going over some of the more news that's going to come out. I'm sure Maresca is going to give his thoughts on the game as well, so we'll cover that. Preview Thursday for the game on Friday. So I'll see you boys then. Chelsea are back, but not winning. Peace.